2016 brought us a lot of great games, but also we got to hear about a lot of great games coming soon. I'm Falcon, and today on gameranx, here's 10 awesome new games announcements of 2016. Number 10, Injustice 2, which is a sequel to the fantastic Injustice Gods Among Us. The original Injustice Gods Among Us was a game that kind of really came out of nowhere, if you ask me. The systems involved were all very well thought out, but the sequel is going to introduce another system, the Gear system, which functions basically as a loot drop mechanic from an RPG. After a match, you get a loot drop, and you can end up customizing the look of your characters or giving them better strength or different abilities. Apparently, there's going to be like over 1,000 options for different arms, legs, capes, shields, chest armor, etc. And they're going to separate the two into a non-geared and geared mode for different matchmaking, just to keep it fair. I'm fairly excited for it. I'm maybe a little bit less excited about the fact that they said they're going to be more aggressive with the DLC, but you know, from the advancements they talked about in the announcements, I think it should be awesome, especially considering NetherRealm's track record. Number 9, Halo Wars 2, the sequel to the RTS set in the Halo universe, will be taking place a little bit after Halo 5 Guardians. What makes me so excited is that Halo Wars itself was a pretty sweet game, but Halo Wars 2 is going to be developed in tandem between 343 Industries and Creative Assembly, the creators of Total War. And those people know RTSs, if I'm gonna say anything. Now, it is a new developer, but they're not starting from scratch. They are building upon the things that were explored in the first game, but they do have some interesting ideas, including a mode that is sort of card-based, which I would say most likely feels a little bit like Clash Royale. It sounds like it to me, but maybe a little bit more serious as far as the depth of gameplay. Number 8 is Resident Evil 7, and this game looks like they're finally doing something clever with Resident Evil. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's just a ripoff of PT. And you know what? On some level, they're not wrong. But here's the thing. As far as characters and actual development of story elements, the demo that has barely any of the mechanics in it, according to Capcom, has already done more than the last several games in the series. Like, I actually care about what's going on in the demo. It's actually interesting, and that's just automatically better than, at very least, the last Resident Evil, but I would say the last few. Resident Evil 4 was a much more charming and interesting game than any mainline or offshoot games in the franchise since. I don't know what on earth happened after that game, but they have not cared about the things that made that game great since that game. But there's a glimmer of hope in the family in the Resident Evil 7 demo, and I'm very interested where it goes. Number 7 is the Crash Bandicoot N-Sanity Trilogy. And if you remember Crash Bandicoot, I know you're ready for this. I am. I loved Crash Bandicoot. It was such a fun game, and it was such a unique game in that they created a sort of very linear platformer that more trended, in my opinion, towards the 2D platformers that came before it rather than the 3D ones that came after. And it really worked. Like, it really, in some ways, felt more like Sonic games than the Sonic Adventure games. And I know somebody is going to get upset with me for that, because Crash Bandicoot is not as fast, and a lot of people love Sonic Adventure, but I think that it's closer to what Sonic was in a lot of respects. And the new version looks gorgeous. Number 6 is Death Stranding, which I am not going to speculate as to exactly what it is, but it is apparently going to be an open world action game. What that means could be anything. But the thing that we do know for certain is that they have been giving us very cryptic footage that is building a world of total dystopian ruin. All I can honestly say is tentacles. That's pretty much it. So probably Lovecraftian dystopian, but it's bizarre, and frankly, at some points it's actually giving me sort of Stranger Things type feelings, which makes me very interested. He's managing to say a lot with environment and atmosphere, which Kojima has actually been a lot more material rather than symbolic in the past. So, I don't know, got Mads Mikkelsen, Guillermo del Toro, and Norman Reedus in it. I've literally gone through the entirety of the actual information on the game at this point. Number 5 is Quake Champions, which looks pretty cool. That's obviously an understatement. It looks like Quake is seriously back. From the gameplay trailer, It is fast-paced in every possible sense of the word. It really looks breakneck and kind of aims to show the Quake way of doing the current sort of Overwatch thing. That being said, it doesn't really look like an Overwatch knockoff, it looks like Quake. And if you know what that's about, I think you get it already. It just looks like it's going to bring a lot more varied environments and probably much more insane scenarios to an arena-based multiplayer shooter concept that plays like a really fast Quake on steroids. I'm ready. Number 4 is God of War, which the overall tone of it is not anything like what we've seen in God of War before. For one, Kratos is a father and has a beard, and for two, a lot of it seems to be about a sort of mentoring relationship with his son. It's really interesting because it's going to be touching themes that I think haven't been touched in the series, obviously, because his original issue was that he accidentally killed his family, and now he clearly has a family of his own. I can't wait to find out where it goes. It's going to be really cool one way or the other. Number 3 is SpiderMan, which is going to be an open world game developed by Insomniac Games, the creators of the absolutely seminal almost Spider-Man game, Sunset Overdrive, and actually built on the same engine, which makes me feel very good because Sunset Overdrive is a very good game. There is not a ton of information out on this game, but the thing that's very neat is that it's an entire new story. It hasn't been made in a film or a comic book, which lends the question, does it even take place in the same universe? They haven't confirmed or denied that, but is this a video game Marvel universe? Cause I'd like that. That would be neat. We'll see. My fingers are crossed though. Number 2 is Red Dead Redemption 2. Now let's just say this right off, we know pretty much nothing about the game other than it exists, but honestly we've wanted to know that for a long time. When we found out that officially we were going to see Red Dead Redemption 2 supposedly in the last quarter of 2017, well, let's just go ahead and say that's all I really needed to know. I'm there. But knowing how well they did in making a Western story adapted to their open world game format and how far the open world game format has come since the last Red Dead game, I fully expect this to probably be the best Rockstar game, in all honesty. Like, that's my expectation. So, good luck with that, Rockstar. And finally, number 1, The Last of Us Part 2, which, by the way, none of us had any idea that was coming. And frankly, the trailer that they did, going with a song, an unconventional execution of said song, saying so much with atmosphere, saying nothing with words, I'm excited. I loved Last of Us. It's such a good game. And although it was cool that they did it kind of as a standalone or implied it was maybe a standalone, I'm gonna be honest, I'm ready to spend more time with Joel and Ellie. Yeah. What are you looking forward to in 2017? Let's meet in the comments and talk about that. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, and if you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and we thank you very much for watching this one. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.